be for kids! Fuck! I hate Five Nights at Freddy's! And I hate my fucking son!
Stupid!
Fuck!
Gerf G. Beerson, a name many of you may know by now. But, who actually is he? In today's video, we will be explaining his lore, biology, motives, and more. So, let's start from the beginning. Millions of years ago, a species closely related to starfish, hence their pinkish color, evolved to walk and survive on land. This primitive omnivorous species reproduced asexually via mitosis, aka the process in which a cell creates a copy of itself. However, due to the fact that these were multicellular organisms, the result was juveniles with slight differences from their parent. It was through this process that these creatures were able to survive and evolve within their ecosystem, with some even developing different colorations thanks to mutations, although most remained pink. Thanks to having no bones at all and being invertebrates, just like their sea cousins, they were able to survive the loss of limbs through regeneration. Offspring could even be born from severed limbs. It's also thanks to their lack of bones and stretchy flesh that they were able to slightly change their form into a more bipedal stance. Their resemblance to Trollface doesn't have anything to do with actually being related to them. They simply look like them due to a case of convergent evolution, where two species that have nothing to do with one another evolve similar features. Millions of years of evolution later, and after gaining consciousness, of course, this species would become known as Erphobrium cerevisiae, or simply, the Gerflings. Enough biology for now. We will talk about his actual lore. Long ago, the Gerfling species had begun to expand. It was then that their current leader, G. Beerson, had his final children, one named Worf, who was overly pacifistic and loving, and the other, our protagonist, named Gerf. Already from a young age, Gerf was very egotistical, and the roots of this ego would erupt soon enough. A few years later, the ruler of the Gerflings would die under strange circumstances, and Gerf would assume full control over all of his father's realm. His first order of business was to exile his brother from his new empire, which he would rename the Gerf Empire. And so, with this change in leadership, the once neutral state would become an industrial, aggressive land. Some years later, after falling into deep alcoholism and abusing his offspring, his plans would finally begin to work. Soon enough, with the help of his people, he would begin conquering different places. One of those he would rename Gerfopolis, which would become his capital and main city, a polluted, neon-filled wasteland that was a testament to his twisted worldview. He believed that all things that ever were or ever would exist rightfully belonged to him, and because of that way of thinking, he wanted to conquer everything so that it could exist under his name and for his glory. That's the reason why he hates the ruler. His name alone threatens Gerf's one and only belief, causing him to harbor intense hatred not only toward him, but toward anything else that does the same. Though, of course, achieving his goals is not so easy, due to the fact that most of his underlings are quite incompetent. But that is beside the point. Those who were competent were able to help the Empire with different kinds of advancements, some of which included liquor, different kinds of machines, and, most importantly, the Death Gerf. A completely moon-sized original idea, it was a giant beer-shaped space station capable of destroying entire planets. This dastardly machine was used to threaten different nations into joining his empire. The new so-called Gerflings weren't actually all that upset with their new leader. In fact, thanks to the conquest of new lands and their apparent victories, many of them actually liked him. One topic we haven't covered yet is the juniors. Gerf is able to create these at will, and they are basically the Empire's lowest of the low, forced to bring beer all day, perform the most dangerous jobs, and endure horrible treatment from their parent for being rotten and ungrateful, as he puts it. Though, if they are able to grow, they will eventually become normal Gerflings. And that's where Gerf's tale ends, a story of betrayal and conquest. Also, he's a YouTube critic.